This news update is brought to you by...
So, I'm meeting Rico later. Gotta check in with the girls, but first, let me check my usage on the MyLime app. Now, what should I wear? Hashtag sexy. He's here.
It's Friday, June 19th, and this is your Barbados Today afternoon update. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. It's a case of playing dice. That's how former Caribbean diplomat Sir Ron Saunders described the European Union's blacklist of Barbados and several of its regional neighbors in a top tax havens in the World Report published this week. He points out that the 10 EU countries which selected the so-called tax havens hardly conducts business with the Caribbean, and this calls into question the criteria used to compile the list. So Ron argues that if Caribbean countries were not compliant with international standards of good tax governance, then Britain, which frequently does business with the region, should have been the one to raise concerns. He suggests that Caribbean countries may have been blacklisted for not having tax exchange agreements with the 10 EU nations which compiled the list, but said more information sharing between EU member states could have easily addressed their concerns. So Ron urged affected Caribbean countries to jointly mount a strong fight back. Meanwhile, CIBC FirstCaribbean is thoroughly reviewing its policies after the bank was named in the FIFA corruption scandal involving former football executives Chuck Blazer and Jack Warner. It's alleged that a Bahamian banker from FirstCaribbean International made a round trip to New York to collect a $250,000 check that was part of a $10 million bribe to influence voting on which nation would stage the 2010 Soccer World Cup. According to reports, the unnamed banking executive deposited the money into Blazer's FirstCaribbean bank account in Nassau. CIBC's Chief Executive Officer, Rick Parkhill, says the bank has not been asked by authorities to assist in the ongoing investigations so far, but it will cooperate if asked. He assures the bank has a strong system in place to guard against money laundering.
We have an ongoing review of all of our policies and processes associated with money laundering and fraud. And I think we've made substantial strides over the last 3 to 4 years in terms of making sure that we have the most robust regime possible. Certainly we're concerned when any financial institution is linked to FIFA or any other organization where there's allegations of misconduct. But we are doing a thorough review. And it does impact on not only our bank's reputation, but the FIFA issues aren't just Caribbean issues. There are a huge number of onshore banks that FIFA used as well outside of the Caribbean.
University of the West Indies economist Dr. Don Marshall says Barbados can no longer delay debate on the issue of debt restructuring. He expressed disappointment that the matter was not given prominence in the government's budget. Marshall tells Barbados Today debt restructuring is not a light matter, warning that it comes with gains and losses. He suggests the issue should not be left in the hands of politicians, but all stakeholders should be engaged in the dialogue.
We need a national debate. We need a national buy-in. We need a national collective will that says we must afford a social care sector at a particular rate. Which means that we must be able to afford some degree of social protection, health care, education, and so on. But it cannot be at the levels that we have grown up accustomed in the Barrow, Adams, Sandyford, and early short years. It wouldn't be that.
In other news this Friday, police report a breakthrough in investigations into the shooting death of 21-year-old Dion Andre Howard. A man is now in custody assisting with the probe. Howard of Gordon Road, Station Hill, St. Michael, was shot in his neighborhood last Thursday. He subsequently died at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. A 65-year-old man will appear before the District F Magistrates Court today on 4 drug charges. Wilton McAndrew Brathwaite has been charged with possession of cannabis, possession with intent to supply the drug, trafficking and importation. On Tuesday, Brathwaite was held by police after they intercepted a fishing boat at Castle Wash in St. Joseph. Police seized 3 polythene bags and 1 tipped package containing 135 pounds of cannabis.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Be spontaneous and creative. Enter the BT Crossover Superstar competition. Pen your lyrics, create your video for your chance to be the first online monarch with over $15,000 in cash and other prizes. For full details, log on to facebook.com/barbadostoday.bb.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
To the region now, tragedy hits Guyana's mining sector again. 1 miner is dead and another is in critical condition after a pit collapsed in a Tiger Creek in the Patagon region. That report from Capital News.
The pit collapsed just after noon and the miner was pulled from the mud. Another miner is reportedly in a critical condition in hospital. Just last month, 10 miners lost their lives after a pit collapse, reportedly due to poor mining practices. The Director of Public Prosecutions is yet to advise on charges in that matter.
Meantime, a local activist group in Trinidad is again putting pressure on CARICOM to boycott the Dominican Republic. The move comes just days after immigration officials in the DR took steps to deport thousands of Dominicans of Haitian descent. More from Jabari Fraser of TV6 News.
There was a chance to regularize citizenship. That period expired on Wednesday, and only hundreds out of hundreds of thousands were able to obtain citizenship. Juve Haiti, a cultural and activism group, is putting pressure on CARICOM and its current chair, Bahamas Prime Minister Perry Christie, to take a strong position against the Dominican Republic. The group says Caribbean people have rallied around the cause, but Caribbean leaders have been worryingly hesitant to act. Juve Haiti is circulating an online petition and calling for a boycott of Dominican products. In 2013, CARICOM leaders got together in Port of Spain to discuss the issue and decided to suspend the DR's application to join the community.
On the international front, the suspect in Wednesday's brutal shooting of 9 people at an African-American church in Charlestown is expected to make his first court appearance today. 21-year-old Dylan Roth is facing charges including 9 counts of murder and possession of a weapon. He was arrested yesterday more than 200 miles away in North Carolina and flown back to South Carolina. Police are treating the killing at the Emmanuel AME Church as a hate crime. And that's our afternoon news update, but we'll be back again this evening. In the meantime, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, our email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. We're also on Channel 101 online TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good afternoon.